The cultural earthquake that defined the year. It was the year of the TikTok blackout, the year of unscripted award show drama, the year a single film soundtrack nearly toppled a global superstar. But how do we measure the pulse of a year? We don't look at political polls. We look at the one place where 700 million people laid bare their souls. Spotify. Welcome back to Current Affairs Hub, where we don't just report the news. We analyze the culture that makes the news. Every December, Spotify Wrapped drops a data bomb that tells us exactly who we were, what we obsessed over, and where the world is heading. This year's 2025 Wrapped results are more than just a playlist. They're a geopolitical, cultural, and economic manifesto. Get ready, because the king is back. The romanticy revolution has begun, and America is officially listening to a different planet than the rest of the world. Let's dive into the biggest current affairs story you didn't know was a current affairs story. The 2025 Spotify Wrapped. For 4 straight years, 2020, 2021, 2022, and now, 2025, one artist has defied language barriers, market trends, and genre shifts to rule the entire globe. We are talking, of course, about Bad Bunny. This isn't just about music, it's about cultural gravity. Bad Bunny racked up an astronomical 19.8 billion streams this year. Think about that number. That's a stream for every single person in the world, times 2. His album, DtMF Más Fotos, also clinched the global top album spot. What does this tell us? It's the absolute, irrefutable proof of Latin music's global supremacy. This isn't a trend anymore. It's the global baseline. Now, who is giving him a run for his money? Global number 2, the undisputed economic force, Taylor Swift. She may have been number 2 globally, but here in the United States, she was queen, reigning as the top U.S. artist. Rounding out the top 5 globally, we saw the enduring power of The Weeknd at number 3, Drake at number 4, and the continued dark pop influence of Billie Eilish at number 5. The message is clear. The established global superstars are still the foundation, but a non-English speaking artist is setting the standard for how high that foundation can reach. Let's zoom in on the track that's Soundtrack 2025, Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. This instant classic, a collaboration powerhouse, soared to the global top song spot with over 1.7 billion streams. It's a perfect case study. Pair 2 legacy, generation-spanning artists, and you get pure, unadulterated global appeal. But the biggest story in the album charts? It wasn't just music. It was the influence of the screen. While Bad Bunny's new album held the top spot, the number 2 global album was the KPop Demon Hunters soundtrack from the Netflix film. This is the future of audio consumption, people. Streaming services are blurring the lines between cinematic universes and your daily playlist. A massive, globally marketed Netflix property can instantly generate a top-tier global album that competes with the biggest stars on the planet. And let's not forget the staying power. We saw albums like Billie Eilish's Hit Me Hard and Soft and Sabrina Carpenter's Short and Sweet return to the top 5 for the 2nd year in a row. These aren't just hits. They're modern classics being cemented into the global audio canon by repeat listens. We know Spotify is a music giant, but it's becoming the ultimate audio library. And the trends in spoken word tell us exactly what we were trying to make sense of in 2025. In podcasts, the king is stagnant, but his relevance is not. For the 6th consecutive year, the Joe Rogan Experience was the world's top podcast. Love him or hate him, Rogan remains the ultimate hub for digital current affairs. But look at the trends that followed. Podcasts became the real-time current affairs hub for the masses. The official Spotify data confirmed that listeners turned to shows to decode the TikTok blackout, to react instantly to unscripted awards show drama, and to analyze celebrity engagements. People aren't waiting for the morning news. They're hitting play on a podcast for instant analysis and community. The rise of shows like The Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, global number 2, and the Mel Robbins podcast, global number 3, shows a massive global demand for self-improvement and entrepreneurial motivation, a reflection of a tough economic year where listeners looked inward for answers. Now, let's talk about the cultural phenomenon you need to know about: romanticy. The biggest cultural current in the audiobook world this year was a genre mashup. Romance plus fantasy equals romantasy. Authors like Rebecca Yarros, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Thorns and Roses series, absolutely dominated the global audiobooks list. Why is this a current affairs issue? Because this is where mass escapism meets consumer power. Listeners, especially young female listeners, are flocking to these long, deep fantasy worlds that offer intricate plots and compelling relationships. They aren't just reading them. They are re-listening to them, cementing backlist titles as modern classics. This trend is a massive signal to publishers, filmmakers, and creators. The appetite for high-stakes, character-driven fantasy with a romantic core is insatiable, and audiobooks are the front line of this revolution. This is where the data gets fascinating and potentially divisive. When you put the US top 5 against the global top 5, you see two completely different cultures emerging. In the United States, the list is a triumph of domestic sounds. Taylor Swift's pop dominance, Morgan Wallen's continued country/pop crossover, and the cultural earthquake that was Kendrick Lamar's year, his SZA collaboration, Luther, topped the U.S. songs list. The U.S. list shows a deeply national music culture, while the global list shows a true melting pot, dominated by Latin, pop, and African influences. The rise of artists like Fuerza Regida, Global Top 10, signals the continued globalization of non-English regional music. The takeaway for current Affairs Hub viewers? When you hear talk of a singular global culture, remember these charts. The U.S. remains a powerful, self-contained cultural system, while the rest of the world has truly embraced a borderless audio landscape. So, what did 2025 rap tell us? Bad Bunny is a cultural institution, not just an artist. The global language of music is not English. Screen time equals stream time. The success of TV/film soundtracks is the new marketing powerhouse. The romantasy boom is real. Escapism via audiobooks is a massive market signal. The U.S. is marching to its own drum, prioritizing domestic stars while the world embraces diversity. The stage is set for 2026. Will Bad Bunny make it 5 in a row? Will an AI DJ-generated song finally break the top 10? The only way to know is to keep listening, keep analyzing, and keep tuning into Current Affairs Hub. If you found this breakdown interesting, smash that like button. Which trend shocked you the most? Romantasy, Bad Bunny, or the KPop Demon Hunters soundtrack? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, hit subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss our next deep dive.